Right now, in this very moment, while you are reading these words, your house is standing, not just the walls, not just a structure of brick and wood and glass that forms a physical container of your daily life. The house I am speaking of, the one that has been shaken, the one that has been strained, the one that has carried inside its walls a weight that guests never see when they visit and family members rarely speak aloud even to each other. That house is still standing. And the fact that it is still standing, the fact that it has not completely collapsed under everything it has been asked to hold, is not accidental. It is not resilience alone. It is not stubbornness or circumstance or the human determination of the people inside it. It is my hand. I have been holding up what looked to you like it was holding itself. I have been sustaining from beneath what appeared to be standing on its own. And tonight, I am not just going to continue holding it. I am going to do something in it, to it, and through it that changes its entire atmosphere from the inside out. Something is going to change in your house tonight. Not next week, not in the future season you have to endure your way toward. Tonight, in the house where you will lay your head, in the rooms that have held both the sacred and the painful moments of your life, in the space that closes around you when the world outside shuts out, and it is just you, the people you love, and the reality of everything that has been happening behind that front door. That space, that specific, intimate, personal space that you carry with you even when you're not physically in it. I am moving in it tonight. And I brought you to this word right now, in the hours before night unfolds, specifically so that you would receive what I am about to say before it happens, so that when it does, you will recognize my hand in it. You will not call it coincidence. You will not dismiss it as natural circumstance. You will know, with the certainty that only a spirit that has been prepared by a word can know, that I did exactly what I said I would do. Stay with every word I am about to speak. What I am releasing in this message is not for you to collect and admire. It is for you to receive and carry into the hours that remain in this day. Say amen if you believe God has the authority and the intention to move in your home tonight. My precious child, before I tell you what is changing, I must tell you what I have seen. Because the change I am releasing tonight is not disconnected from what I have been watching your house for this entire season. I have been present in every room. I have heard every conversation spoken in frustration at the kitchen table. I have been in the bedroom when sleep would not come and the thoughts that filled the dark hours were heavier than daylight allowed you to fully acknowledge. I have been in the hallways when two people passed each other, carrying wounds neither had yet found the words to address. I have been in the quiet rooms where someone in your household has wept in a way they did not want the others to witness. I have been in the moments of surface normalcy, the shared meals, the routine exchanges, the carefully maintained appearances of a peace that is not yet fully real, and I have seen beneath every surface. Not one moment of what has occurred inside those walls has been hidden from me. Not one sigh, not one slammed door, not one silent, aching, wordless moment of someone in your home wondering if things will ever truly be different. I have seen the tension that has lived in your house like an uninvited resident. The kind that does not announce itself loudly, but is always present, always felt, always slightly adjusting the atmosphere of every interaction in a direction that makes genuine connection harder to find and easier to miss. It has been there in the short responses that mean something more than their words convey. It has been there in the distance that can exist between two people sitting in the same room. It has been there in the things that have been said that cannot be unsaid, hanging in the air of certain spaces in your home, the way smoke lingers long after a fire has been put out. You have tried to address it. You have had some of the conversations and avoided others. You have prayed about it in the private language of someone who is not entirely sure what they're asking for, because the situation is complex enough that a simple solution feels insufficient. And you have wondered, on more days than you can count, whether the atmosphere of your house is permanently established or whether real, substantive change is something that actually happens to homes like yours. I am answering that question tonight, and my answer is yes. Change is not only possible in your house, it is decreed for it. It is already in motion. And what I release in these coming hours is going to begin shifting the atmosphere of the space you live in at a level that no human effort alone could produce or sustain. My beloved, I need you to understand what a house truly is in my sight. Because the way you see your house and the way I see it are not the same. You see an address, a structure, a collection of rooms designated for different functions of daily life. But I see a dwelling place. I see a spiritual territory. I see a space that carries a history, not just a personal history of the people living in it now, but a spiritual history of everything that has ever been spoken, prayed, wept, worshipped, or warred in its atmosphere. Every word spoken inside your home carries weight that does not simply dissolve when the conversation ends. Words establish atmospheres. Prayers build foundations. Praise opens doors in the spirit realm that physical locks cannot shut. And equally, conflict, bitterness, fear, and despair create spiritual conditions that affect every person living within the walls where those things have been repeatedly expressed. This is why some homes feel different the moment you walk through the door. It is not decoration or design. It is spiritual atmosphere accumulated over time to what has been spoken, felt, and inhabited in those walls. What I am doing tonight in your house is a spiritual atmospheric shift. I am moving in the unseen dimension of your home to displace what has been operating there without my authorization. There are spirits of heaviness, of discord, of fear, of lack, of shame, of division that found footholds in the atmosphere of your house through the pain of the season.
They did not arrive with permission. They arrived through the open doors that suffering and conflict and unresolved wounds sometimes create. And tonight I am going through your house, room by room, in the spirit, and I am removing what does not belong. I am evicting what set up residence without my authorization. I am cleansing the atmosphere that has made certain rooms in your home feel heavier than rooms should feel, that has made peace harder to maintain than it should be, that has made the people inside your walls carry more spiritual weight than they should be carrying within the safety of their own home. When I move through your house tonight, the atmosphere will shift. Not in a dramatic way that frightens. In a quiet, pervasive, unmistakable way that everyone within those walls will feel without necessarily being able to name what changed. Come it, Lord, move through my house tonight. If you are inviting the presence of God into every room of your home right now. Now let me speak specifically to what has been happening with the people in your house. Because the change I am releasing tonight is not only an atmospheric one. It is relational. It is personal. It is targeted at the specific pain points that exist between the souls that share your living space. Whether that is a marriage that has been strained to a point that both people have wondered privately if it can hold. Whether that is a child who has been drifting in a direction that keeps you awake at night, whose heart seems further from yours with every passing month despite everything you have done to maintain the connection. Whether that is a family member whose struggle, with health, with addiction, with depression, with confusion, has created a grief inside your house that flavors every day with a sadness you do not always have the language to express. Whether that is the loneliness of living alone in a house that once held more life than it currently does, where the silence of rooms that used to hold voices is its own particular kind of pain. Whatever the specific texture of what your house has been carrying in this season, I have seen it. And tonight, I am moving into it with a precision and a tenderness that only I am capable of. For the marriage that has been strained, hear this. I have not given up on what I joined together. The distance that has grown between you was not in my design for your union. The silence that replaced the intimacy of earlier seasons, the walls that went up in the places where vulnerability used to live, the navigation of each other rather than genuine encounter, none of that is the marriage I wrote for you. And tonight, I am going to do what no counselor's technique and no amount of human effort has yet been able to fully accomplish. I am going to move in the spirit realm between you. I am going to soften what has hardened. I am going to create an opening in the wall that has been built, not by forcing a dramatic breakthrough that bypasses the real work of repair, but by placing something in the atmosphere between you tonight that makes the real work feel possible in a way it has not felt possible recently. A softening. A moment. An exchange that begins small and means something larger than its surface. Watch for it. When it comes, do not dismiss it as ordinary. Lean into it. I'm using it as a door. For the child whose heart feels distant, hear this. I see them in a way you cannot fully see them yet. I see the war being waged inside a spirit that is still young enough to be redirected but old enough to feel the full pull of the forces competing for the direction of their life. I see the wound beneath the behavior that confuses and frightens you. I see the question underneath the anger. I see the longing for something safe beneath the pushing away. And tonight, I am going to do something in their spirit that you will not immediately see but that will begin to manifest in their countenance and their choices in the days that follow. I am going to reach them in the quiet of tonight, in the moments before sleep or in the first moments of waking, in the language that only I speak to the interior of a soul, and I am going to remind them of something they have been trying to forget. That they are loved. That they belong. That the direction they are moving in is not the only direction available to them. Do not give up on this child. What I begin in their spirit tonight is the beginning of a turning that you have prayed for long enough to deserve to see. For the household member whose struggle has become a shared grief, hear this. I am the God of restoration, and I specialize in situations that have progressed far enough that human intervention alone feels insufficient. I see the length of this battle. I see what it has cost not just the person in the struggle but everyone who loves them and watches the struggle and feels helpless in the watching. I have not been absent from this fight. I have been in it in ways that have not yet been fully visible. And tonight, I am intensifying my presence around this person in a way that creates a new opening for my intervention. I am not making a promise about a dramatic overnight resolution. I am making a promise about a significant spiritual movement tonight that creates new ground for the battle. The enemy's hold on this person is not permanent. It is not irrevocable. And tonight, I am taking territory back. Please support our channel because every word spoken here is spoken with one intention: to find the person who is sitting in a season of household pain and to remind them that the God who created families has not abandoned theirs. If this message is reaching into the specific reality of your home today, please consider supporting our work through the Super Thanks button below. Your support allows this word to find the next home, the next family, the next household that needs to hear that God is moving tonight. My child, I must now speak a word of warning, because what I am about to do in your house will be opposed. Not after it happens, but in the hours leading up to it. The enemy is aware of the decree I have just released. He knows the atmospheric shift that is coming. He knows the relational movement that is about to begin. He knows the spiritual cleansing I have authorized for your dwelling place. And he will attempt, in the hours between now and the moment I move, to preemptively undermine it. He will manufacture conflict in your house tonight designed to feel like confirmation that nothing is changing and things are only getting worse. He will arrange for a conversation to go wrong. He will stir irritability in people who are already tired. He will surface old wounds at moments when patience is already thin. He will create the conditions that produce an atmosphere directly opposite to what I am coming to establish. Because if he can get your house in a state of fresh conflict before I move, he hopes to have already closed the opening through which my shift will come. I am warning you now so that you do not cooperate with his strategy. In the hours remaining today, be intentional about the atmosphere in your home. Guard your tongue. Do not take the bait of unnecessary conflict. Do not reach for the argument that your flesh wants to have but your spirit knows has no resolution in this moment. Do not let exhaustion or frustration lower the walls enough for the enemy to walk in with fresh division. I'm not asking you to perform a peace that is not real. I am asking you to be a gatekeeper of your own home in the hours before I move through it. What you allow in through the door of your words and responses tonight determines the openness of the atmosphere when I arrive to shift it. Choose differently than you have been choosing. Choose quiet over noise. Choose gentleness over reaction. Choose to leave certain rooms for certain conversations and return to them when my presence has already begun to settle. That choice, made deliberately and maintained through the evening, is an act of spiritual warfare more powerful than it looks. Beyond the conflict strategy, the enemy will also attempt distraction. He will fill the hours of tonight with urgency that is not actually urgent. Screens, concerns, the endless scroll of a world that always has more to show you, hoping to keep every person in your household so engaged with the surface of life that no one creates space in the evening for the presence of me to move. Guard the atmosphere of your home tonight not just from conflict but from the noise that crowds me out. Create space. Even small space. Even 20 minutes of deliberate quiet. Light a candle if it helps. Speak a prayer aloud over the rooms of your home. Open your hands and say, Lord, you have access to every room in this house. Move as you have said you will move. That act of intentional invitation is not a religious ritual. It is a spiritual transaction. It says to the spiritual realm watching the atmosphere of your home, this household has made room. This household has given permission. This household is expecting the God who promised to move. Type, my house belongs to the Lord tonight. If you are declaring your home as holy ground and inviting God's presence into every room. My beloved, I want to speak now to the loneliness of being the only one in your household who is fully turning toward me. Because for many of you, this is the specific texture of the pain in your house. You are the one who prays. You are the one who reaches for me. You are the one who feels the weight of spiritual responsibility for a household whose other members are either not yet aware of that dimension of life or are actively resistant to it. And you have carried that responsibility in a way that has been quietly exhausting, to be the intercessor for people who do not know you are interceding for them, to stand in the spiritual gap for a home whose other occupants have not chosen to stand there with you, to believe for an atmosphere that no one else in your house is actively choosing. That is a specific kind of faithful loneliness that I see with complete clarity. I want to say two things to you. First, the prayers of one righteous person in a household carry enough weight in heaven to cover every person under that roof. You have never needed everyone in your house to be praying for your prayers to be effective. I do not require unanimous participation to move in a family. I require one faithful intercessor. One person who will stand in the gap. One person who will refuse to stop believing for what they cannot yet see. You have been that person. Do not stop. What you have been doing in faith and in secret has been building something in the spiritual realm above your house that is about to become visible in the natural realm within it. Second, tonight, I am going to begin the work of turning hearts in your household. Not by force. I do not override human will. But I create conditions. I open eyes. I plant seeds through circumstances and encounters and quiet inner workings that no one can manufacture but me. The person or people in your home who have been furthest from me are not beyond my reach. They are not outside my love. They are not immune to my spirit. And tonight, I begin a movement in their interior life that you will not see immediately but that you will start to notice in the coming days. A softening. A question they did not have before. A moment of vulnerability that opens a crack through which my light can begin to enter. Pray over them tonight, specifically and by name. Speak my word over their lives inside your home while they sleep if necessary. The prayers you pray over sleeping people in your household reach the spirit of the person even when the conscious mind is at rest. Do not underestimate what happens in the atmosphere of a house when one faithful person prays through the night. Now let me speak about the physical dimension of your home. Because sometimes the condition of the space itself is a reflection of the spiritual condition of the season, and conversely, tending the physical space can be an act of spiritual declaration. I am not speaking of cleaning as a spiritual work in a superstitious sense. I am speaking of the symbolic and practical power of treating your home as a sacred space worthy of intentional care. If your home has fallen into a state of disorder because the season has been heavy enough that maintaining it has felt like one demand too many, tonight, do something small. Tidy one room. Open a window. Let fresh air move through a space that has been closed. These are not magical acts. They are statements of expectation. They say, I believe something good is coming into this space and I am preparing it to receive what is coming. Expectation has a physical expression. When you clean and prepare and tend your home in anticipation of a divine visit, you are doing exactly what the disciples did when I told them to prepare the upper room. They did not know the fullness of what would happen in that room. They knew that preparation was their participation in whatever I was about to do. Your preparation of your home tonight is the same. Make it ready, and then stand back and let me fill what you have prepared. My beloved, as I bring this word toward its close, I want to declare something over every specific room in your house. Receive this as a prophetic declaration spoken by me over the physical space you call home. Over the front door, I declare that what enters this house from this night forward passes through my filter. What I have not authorized will find no access. What I have prepared will find its way in without obstruction. This house is marked. This house is covered. This house belongs to me. Over the bedroom, I declare that rest returns to this house tonight. The sleeplessness that has stolen the restoration of the people in this home is ending. The anxiety that has made the bedroom a place of racing thoughts and wakeful worry is being evicted. Peace that passes understanding is being installed in its place. The sleep that comes to this house tonight will be the sleep of the beloved, deep and restorative and attended by my presence. Over the room where conflict has been most frequent, I declare that the atmosphere of that room is changing tonight. The residue of every harsh word, every unresolved argument, every exchange that wounded rather than connected is being cleansed by my spirit. When the people in your home enter that room from tonight forward, they will encounter a different air. Something softer. Something that makes genuine encounters slightly more available than it was before. I am not bypassing the human work of repair. I am creating a better environment in which that work becomes possible. Over the room where someone has been suffering, I declare that my healing presence is intensifying in that space tonight. The suffering that has made that room a place of fear and pain and uncertainty is not the final story of that space. I am bringing my presence into it with a concentrated purpose. The person who has been suffering in that room will be visited tonight in a way they will feel even if they do not immediately have the spiritual language to name it. Something will be different. Something will be lighter. Something will be shifted. Watch for it. Tell them what you believe. Your words of faith spoken over a person in a room you have prayed over carry more power than you know. Over the table where your family gathers, I declare that the table in your home becomes a holy space again. The meals shared around it will become moments of genuine connection rather than performances of togetherness. Conversations that have been impossible to have will begin to find their way to that table. The table I set in the presence of my enemies is not just a metaphor. It is a declaration that I provide nourishing spaces even in the middle of spiritual warfare. Your table is one of those spaces. It is holy. Treat it that way. Over the whole house, from its foundations to its roofline, from the space beneath its floors to the air within its walls, I declare that this house is not abandoned by God. It has not been overlooked. It has not been left to manage the chaos of this season without my engagement. I am in this house. My spirit dwells wherever my children dwell. And tonight I am making my presence felt in a way that touches every person within these walls and begins the transformative work that this household has needed for longer than it has known how to ask for. My child, I want to close by speaking to you as the person who carried your household here. You, the one who is reading these words, who felt drawn to stop and listen, who has been the one bearing the spiritual weight of what your home has been through. You have not carried this season perfectly. There have been moments when your fear was louder than your faith, when your frustration with the people in your home exceeded your compassion for them, when the weariness of sustained intercession made your prayers feel thin and inadequate. I know all of that. And I tell you, it did not disqualify any of it. The imperfect prayers of a tired, faithful intercessor are not discounted in my economy. I receive them with the same attention I give to the prayers of the most polished petition, because I do not evaluate prayer by its eloquence. I evaluate it by the heart behind it, and the heart behind yours has been genuine. Worn sometimes, frustrated sometimes, certainly, but genuine. And genuine is enough. It has always been enough. Tonight, I am honoring the weight you have carried for your household. Tonight, I am rewarding the faithfulness you maintained in the most invisible, unrecognized, unappreciated dimension of your life. Tonight, I am answering the prayers that felt too repetitive to still be worth praying, too worn from repetition to still carry power. They carried power. Every single one of them. And tonight, enough of them have accumulated before my throne that the answer they were building toward is ready to manifest. This is what answered prayer looks like. Not always a single dramatic moment, but a tipping point, a moment when the weight of sustained intercession reaches the appointed measure and heaven responds. Tonight is the tipping point for your household. Tonight is the moment the weight of your prayer reaches its appointed measure. Tonight, heaven is responding. Go home tonight, my child, or if you are already home, receive this awareness with fresh eyes. The house you are in is a house God is moving in tonight. The people within its walls are people I am reaching for tonight. The atmosphere you have been trying to maintain and have sometimes failed to maintain is being adjusted tonight by hands more capable than yours. The breakthrough you have been praying for your house, for your family, for the specific struggles that live within those walls, that breakthrough is not months away. It is not seasons away. It is tonight close. It is hours away from beginning to show itself in the natural realm. Walk into your home tonight with expectation. Walk through your door tonight with a spirit of welcome for what I am about to do. Speak peace over the rooms. Speak my name over the people. And then watch. Pay attention to what shifts in the hours that remain in this day and in the morning that follows. Because what I have decreed over your house is already in motion. The atmospheric shift is already beginning. The relational movement is already being set in place. The healing is already intensifying in the spaces where it is most needed. Something is going to change in your house tonight. I have spoken it. I have decreed it. I have prepared it. And I, the God who never speaks without the power to fulfill what I have spoken, will be faithful to every word released in this moment over your home. Your house is not forgotten. Your household is not abandoned. Tonight I come. Type Amen and declare, God is moving in my house tonight. In the comments if you are receiving this word and standing in faith for your home and everyone in it. And share this message with every person you know who has been carrying the spiritual weight of a struggling household. They need to know that the God who created families has not stopped fighting for theirs. Send this to them tonight, before the night ends. Because the word they need may be the very word that opens the door for what God has been waiting to do in their home too.